Hello, it's a Screenwriter's Journey Day 103. And as I said, I think at the beginning of my day 101 or 102, I'm recording this several weeks afterwards. Oh my gosh, 10/10, October 10th. Today is November 9th. So it's almost been a month. And so I really have no idea what I'm even looking at here. I know it's my script. Um, So let's just see if I can figure out what I was doing. I know I had gotten the comments from that one peer reviewer and had gone through over the course of a couple days and made a bunch of sort of fixes. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm talking with my sons about the changes in the script. So, yeah, I will. I will stop and you can just listen to our conversation as if it's interesting. I'll let you decide. One thing that Dixie said, you guys, the Save the Cat books, which is
Mm-hmm.
like one of the Bibles, and
Yeah.
the title comes from having something early on that the hero does that sort of endears him or her to the audience just to kind of get them on their side.
Yep.
And she didn't really think it had something like that. And so she kind of had an idea, and then I kind of took it from there. But she thought instead of Holly leaving the stuffed animals in the girl's bed, she would take a couple with her. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they get into the van, um, so two things happen basically. So she's in the van with Holly, and Holly puts out her hand to shake and says it'll be okay. Lexi considers this growing fond of Holly by the moment. She reaches out, shakes Holly's hand, and Lexi goes, "This makes it a promise." And Holly says, "Sure does." And then she lays back. She tries to get comfortable. "I can't sleep. I bet you can." And then Holly pulls out the two stuffed animals and tucks one under her head as a pillow and puts the other one
Mm-hmm.
in Lexi's arms, and then she hugs it and falls asleep.
Yeah.
So that is the Save the Cat moment.
Yep.
Um, and so the other thing is that I set up is that she shakes her hand and she says, "It'll be okay. This makes it a promise." And then um, somewhere in here,
The callback.
the callback. It's a double callback. I just did a lot of tiny, tiny little stuff. So when Holly and Lexi are eating dinner and Holly's dropping all these bombshells on her, then um, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Yes, he just corrects. Um, so just Holly's dropped all the bombs on her, and Holly's just talked to Paul and found out that she got that job, or the justice offered her the job. So Lexi says, "What'd you just say yes to?" Holly says, "We'll talk about it on the drive up." And then Holly puts out her hand to shake, but this time Holly doesn't shake it.
Mm.
And so she just says 8 o'clock sharp, blah, 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 blah. All right. So they go up to the racetrack, and Dixie thought the racetrack scene or the go-kart scene, really nothing substantial happened that made it worth the time.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so Holly and Lexi get there because Holly's driving so fast. I took out the part about the helicopter because it didn't really ever pay off, and the more I thought about it, I don't know that it really made sense because all it would do was worry Lexi, and Holly wouldn't really want to do that.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So the go-kart scene, it originally was like, "Hey, if you beat me, I'll tell you."
Right.
So what happens then instead?
Well, It's funny you should ask. So they get up there, and so the others arrive. We're beginning to think you got lost. How did you not get pulled over? I'll tell you later. Jake looks at Lexi for an answer. Lexi points at the track. Perfect chance to redeem yourself. She heads for the track. Luke and Abby falling beside her. Holly starts after them until Jake catches her by the arm. Whoops.
Really didn't have to.
Little typo there. Whoops. Good grief. All right. And so he waits till no one can hear him. You really didn't have to come. She looks at the others, back at Jake. You rather it be your parents. I'd rather it be no one, because you can look after her, obviously. He starts off. Holly says long term. Jake looks back. Are you going somewhere? What if I was? So this kind of sets up the fact that Holly does feel kind of maybe a little bad or guilty and wants to make sure that Jake's not a big jerk.
I like that.
Okay, you guys racing or what? And then, so Holly waits just a minute and then says to Jake, do you think as much of her as she does of you? Jake hesitates. How much is that? Holly says, wrong answer. Setting up Jake's sort of self-centeredness a little bit. And then they race. Your answer, real piece of work. You're just now realizing that. What'd she say? Nothing. I win. And then this one right here. So they're sitting there getting ready to go, and Lexi says, I win, you tell me the truth. Jake chuckles like that's ever going to happen. Meaning, A, you're never going to win, and B, or does it mean I'm not going to tell you the truth?
Okay.
So then they still race. So there's no Holly says, if you beat me.
Yeah.
But it's probably obvious that Jake is going to lose anyways. So he just says afterwards, whatever's going on, I'm here for you long term, as he glances at Holly. And then Luke still has his likewise thing and gets the payoff on the joke there. So I did that. And the other lady just had a lot of, she noticed how many times I use the word look and looks. And I did a search, and it's 199 times. So I've been going through to take some of those out. So I think the only other thing, there's really, the other lady really liked Hogan and Holly's back and forth, which was good to hear. At the very end, I do have one more payoff when I made it a little clear when Paul says, can you imagine anyone doing a better job of raising you? Lexi says, not even close. And then Holly says, you were worried about what would happen to her, not me. Because before she just said, she had one line, and it was separated by 20 pages from when it got set up. So I just wanted to make sure that didn't get lost. But so Holly or Lexi says, what if he said I don't need protection, but still didn't, and she'll be a long distance runner for the next 6 weeks. I got you the job. We're going to the airport. I'll be fine, Aunt Holly. I can still call you that, right? And you will come back. Holly considers for just a moment, puts out her hand to shake. So she's now making that new promise, and then pushes her hand aside, throws her arms around her. We got to go. And
that's a nice tie-in.
Yeah. Then I think this line, I forgot what he said, but yeah, the one lady goes, you better start thinking of the sequel. So that's what I changed. Now I'm back giving my voiceover just to wrap up the day. So I talked to them. I went through the script, told them what I had changed based on my conversations, and that I was about to send it off. I had to cut this part out because I mentioned the person's name. But I was about to send it off to a guy who is a serious, he's done TV, I don't think he's ever written any movies, but he created a TV show that was very popular and successful that was on for several years. He's written other stuff before that. He hasn't done a lot since. I think he's pretty much retired, but he's read a few of my scripts, given me super good notes, not just like super nitpicky, but just big picture. Hey, this just doesn't work. Very good on character. So this was right before I sent it to him that you just watched / listened to. So we'll see what he says and continue on the journey. Thanks for going on it with me.